If you're tired of guessing what to post and wondering why good content isn't bringing in clients, this video is for you. We're going to create a content marketing strategy that fits your business, your energy, and your goals step by step. By the end, you'll know exactly what you're doing on each platform, how it all connects, and how to keep it sustainable long term without hustle and overwhelm, but rather with a clear and calm plan. I'm Natalia and I help creators like you turn content into income, freedom, and a brand you're proud of. So let's get comfy, grab some tea, and let's do this. Today, we're diving into one of the most important topics I can possibly cover, your content marketing strategy for 2026. Now, I actually made a version of this video back in October 2020, and you really loved it. Thousands of you have told me it helped you finally get clarity on your content, and my free workbook helped you a ton too. But we all know so much has changed since then. We've got AI flooding the internet with generic content, platforms prioritizing completely different post types, and algorithms that work nothing like they used to. Plus, of course, the audiences are craving something entirely different than they did 5 years ago. The stuff I've shared back then is foundational, meaning the exact same principles apply, but I'm now updating the entire framework to just make you feel confident in building a strategy that fits real humans with real energy limits, sustainable workflows, and the way platforms actually behave in 2026. Now, we're not going to bolster hustle culture or posting 7 times a day, but instead we're being strategic, intentional, and creating content that actually serves both you and your audience. By the end of this video, you'll have a clear step-by-step plan for creating content that attracts your ideal audience, builds trust, and grows your business without the overwhelm. First, we need to understand why things have changed, because it's just as important as knowing what to do differently. Here's what's shifted dramatically since 2020. So first, AI can now create content in seconds. You can generate a caption, a script, even an entire blog post with just a few prompts. And while that's incredible technology and it can help us do more, it's also created a massive problem. The internet is now flooded with generic, kind of soulless content that all sounds the same, and your audience can't tell the difference. They're tired of reading the same recycled tips from 100 different accounts that just sound the same. What they're craving now is human perspective, authentic storytelling, and real experiences. This is actually great news for creators who are willing to show up as themselves, share their journey, and inject personality into everything they create. Now, second, the attention kind of moved slightly. I feel like short form content is still valuable, but I kind of feel like long form is making a huge comeback. Now, YouTube, podcasts, even long TikToks are doing more for your long term than quick 15-second clips. The catch is that it has to feel personal and maybe even more story driven, not just be informational. ChatGPT can spew quick tips for you easy, but people will sit through a 20-minute video if they feel connected to the person speaking. They'll skip a 30-second reel if it feels like another recycled advice. Third, people are craving comfort and connection over perfection. You might have heard it before. It's been called the comfort creator era. And think about how you yourself feel when you consume content. I know I felt this way a lot in the past 2 or 3 years. Your audience is actually overstimulated, overwhelmed, and honestly just exhausted from the constant pressure of productivity culture and doom scrolling. The creators who do it right feel like a warm hug, like you're sitting down with a friend to chat. They show up as real people, sharing their journey and not just kind of obsessively trying to curate and polish their Instagram feed, their home, their outfits, and how they speak. The guru era is over. We're not putting people on pedestals anymore. Audiences want to feel like they're learning from a friend and being guided and not pushed to, dominate, maximize, and hustle till they drop. Fourth, apart from serving as socials, platforms like Instagram and TikTok have become search engines. Sure, your audience may be scrolling, but they're also actively searching for solutions to specific problems. They're typing how to create a content calendar or Canva tips for beginners directly into the Instagram or TikTok search bars. And this behavior should drive your content strategy. If your content isn't optimized for discovery with the right keywords, clear topics, and searchable captions, you're invisible to the people who need you most. And finally, engagement on public posts is declining, but communities and private spaces are thriving. People are creating and craving deeper connection in smaller circles, whether that's in your DMs, in email newsletters, on Discord servers, or even paid communities. opportunities. So your strategy can't just be about posting and hoping that people will engage. You need to think about where they're leading people after they discover you and how you're building actual relationships, not just kind of, chasing the follower count. So with all that context, let's build your strategy for this new era. Your 2026 content marketing strategy has 6 core parts. 1, assess where you are now. 2, define your mission and goals. 3, know your audience deeply. 4, choose your content pillars and channels. 5, create your content system. And 6, track, adjust, and optimize. Now, I know this may feel like a lot, but I promise we're going to break it down step by step. And by the end, you'll have absolute clarity. So let's jump to point number 1, assess where you are now. Now, before you plan where you're going, you need to know where you are right now. And I mean, really know, not just kind of have this like vague sense of my post could be better or I don't have enough followers, but actual data about what's working and what's not. This is where most people skip ahead because auditing isn't as fun as creating, but how else will you set real goals that you can achieve and build an action plan that you can follow step by step? Now, I want you to audit your content using the customer journey framework. This helps you see exactly where you might be losing people as they move from who is this person to I love everything you do. Every person who buys from you or engages with you and with your content goes through these 5 stages. So first we have awareness. This is how people find you. So ask yourself, are your social media posts reaching new people? Are you showing up in search results? Are friends telling friends about you? If your reach is low, your problem is at the very top. You need to focus on discoverability and becoming visible. Second, consideration. This is where they start checking you out. So once they find you, do they actually stick around? Are they visiting your profile, reading your captions, or comparing you to others? This is where your optimized bio, your pinned posts, and your start here content matter a lot. If you have high reach but low followers, this is where the gap may be, and you need to give them a reason to follow you, and in broader terms, a reason to consider buying from you if you have any offers. Then comes the decision stage. Are they ready to commit? This could be buying a product, signing up for your newsletter, or booking a call. If you have tons of followers but 0 sales or signups, your decision stage needs work. You might need clearer calls to action or a stronger offer. You need to build and foster connections so they can trust you, and you do it by nurturing your audience with quality content that's not like surface level, broad reach type of stuff that's going to just bring visibility but not necessarily give people more. Next, we have service. So this is the experience that they have after they say yes. So when they buy your course or join your list, is the experience amazing? Are they getting what they expected? Is your customer service or even your email sequence or just your DM replies helpful and friendly? If your follower or your customer gets frustrated at this point, you're likely losing trust and they won't come back. And finally, loyalty. This is the golden stage that every creator or a business owner should want to get to with their customers. Do they come back? Do they buy again? Do they tell everyone they know about you? Loyalty is built through great experiences and consistent value. And if you're always chasing new customers but never seeing old ones return, your loyalty stage needs attention. Of course, this is done with all the previous stages are on point. They're consistently doing their job. And at the end, you've built so much value and trust. Parts of your audience become fans for life and actual advocates that give you word of mouth, recommend you, share your stuff freely just because they love what you do and what you've given them throughout months or years. So take a look at your own business right now. Maybe you're doing great at awareness. Your carousels are getting thousands of views. Amazing. But when you look at consideration, you actually see people aren't following or clicking the link in bio. That tells you your hook may be great, but your nurture is missing. Or maybe you have incredible loyalty. Your small group of clients absolutely loves you, but your awareness is low because you haven't posted anything in 3 months. That tells you exactly what to focus on. You need to get visible again. Can you see how this works and why auditing yourself is that important? Instead of trying to fix everything, you just find the one stage where people are getting stuck and you focus your strategy there. If you have no followers and no customers, you're literally just starting out. You're building your customer or your follower journey from the ground up, starting at stage 1, awareness. Part 2, define your mission and goals. Now that you know where you are, let's talk about why you're creating content in the first place. And no, I want to grow on social media or everyone's doing it is not enough. You need a real mission, something that will ground you when things get hard, when the algorithm changes, or when you're just not feeling it. So ask yourself, why do I want to create content? How does content creation support my bigger business goals? What impact do I want to have on my audience? And if my mission were fully realized, what would that even look like? So for me, my mission is to help creators and business owners turn their knowledge into content and offers that grow their income, build a strong online presence, and create more freedom in their lives. That's almost like my North Star. It guides every single video I make, every product I create, and every collaboration I say yes or no to. When a brand reaches out about a sponsorship, I ask, does this align with my mission? Will this genuinely just help my audience? And you don't even know how many times the money was amazing, dare I say life-changing even. But if the answer to these questions is ever no, I will pass every single time because I value you guys too much, and staying true to my mission builds a long-term trust, and that's worth more than any bag. Your mission should be specific enough to just guide your decisions, but wide enough to give you room to grow. So write it down, put it somewhere where you can see it, and come back to it when you're feeling a little lost. Then once you have your mission, it's time to set good quality goals. And what do I mean by good quality? Now, I don't want to see anything that's too vague, and I've seen it so much when working with clients through my consultations or just talking to people online. People often say things like, I want more followers, I want to grow my business, I want better engagement, but how do you make it happen? How does it even, what does it even mean? At best, you'll get some vague results with these. You can't really measure more or you can't measure better, which means you'll never know if you're actually succeeding. So instead, use the SMART framework, goals that are specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. So here are some examples of SMART goals. I want to gain 500 new Instagram followers this quarter by posting 3 reels per week and engaging with 20 accounts daily in my niche. I want to grow my email list to 1,000 subscribers by the end of this year through a free content planning template promoted in my YouTube videos and through Instagram ads. I want to make 5,000 in course sales this quarter by creating a mini course and promoting it through a launch sequence of 5 YouTube videos and 3 email sequences. So I hope you can see the difference. These goals have numbers, they have timelines, and they have specific actions attached to them. You can track them, you can actually adjust them, and actually know when you hit them so you can then celebrate. And as a little side note, this is the reason why I also prefer to set production-driven goals. And what do I mean by that? Now, there are so many factors that go into growing a following. You can do all things right, but timing can be slightly different. There may be a big event that changes things, or they may be fatigue in the community. What I'm saying is that some things will always be outside of your control. What you can control is what you put out there. So this is what I mean by production-driven. You can control how often you post, what campaign you run, what content you create, and that actually can contribute to the end result itself. So I always prefer to say, I want to get 200k subscribers on YouTube and increase my watch time by doing 1 live per month and posting 4 in-depth videos, then focusing on the 200k subscribers and watch time on its own. All right, moving on, we need to be able to measure our progress, and you do it by choosing your KPIs, the key performance indicators that will tell you if you're right on track. Now, your KPIs should directly tie to your goals. So if your goal is awareness, you can track reach, impressions, and new followers. If your goal is engagement, track saves, shares, comments, and DM conversations. If your goal is growing your email list, you can track opt-ins, landing page visits, and conversion rates. And if your goal is making sales, track clicks to your sales page, add to carts, and purchases. The key here is to have a system in your business to actually measure these things. And I use a combination of platform analytics, of Google Analytics, and my own tracking database in Notion where I log my numbers. Because if you're not tracking, you're kind of guessing, and guessing is definitely not a strategy. I hope you know it by now. Okay, on to the next stage, part 3, know your audience deeply. Now, this is a bit where most people make a huge mistake because they rush through it, they don't give it enough attention, but if you don't know who you're talking to, your content will be generic, it won't speak to anyone in particular, and we all know with the AI stuff everywhere, it's gonna get ignored. So your audience isn't everyone. It's a specific group of people with very specific problems, with very specific desires and behaviors as well. And in 2026, understanding their emotional needs is just as important as understanding just the demographics and info like this. So here's what I want you to answer. For demographics, who are they, right? So what's their age, gender, location, and profession? My audience, for example, includes small business owners, service providers, coaches, designers, content creators, bloggers, people who want to grow their income and create more freedom in their lives, as I've mentioned before. Problems and desires. So what are they struggling with right now? What solutions are they actively searching for? And what do they want to achieve in the next, say, 90 days. So for my audience, the main struggles are wanting to create content consistently, but not having systems or time, maybe feeling overwhelmed by complex software, wanting to grow on social media, but not knowing where to start. And finally, behavior. So where do they spend their time online? How do they consume content? Do they binge on YouTube? Maybe they scroll Instagram, read newsletters. How do they make decisions? So do they need to trust you first? Do they maybe buy impulsively? Do they research heavily? That's going to inform what platform you choose and for what specific content. But what most strategy advice leaves out is the emotional part, and it's pretty important right now. You need to understand what do they believe about themselves, what makes them feel seen and understood, and what makes them trust someone enough to buy from them. My audience often feels like they're not ready to start creating, or they're behind compared to other creators. They worry about being judged. Sometimes they feel like they need permission to be imperfect. And when I create content, I speak directly to those feelings. I normalize starting before you're ready. And I've actually started sharing about my own very messy journey, and I give practical tools that make them feel more empowered and kind of capable of achieving things on their own. And it's that emotional understanding that can actually transform their lives, because you can then tailor your content and your offers to serve them well. Now, once you've done this research, you can create personas, so almost like profiles for your ideal audience members with details about them. So you can actually give them names and backstories and their own set of, wants and challenges and things like that. So as an example, a content educator might have 3 personas like this. So Sarah, the solopreneur who's juggling a full-time job and wants to start creating content but has little to no time. Mike, the small business owner who knows he needs to be on social media but has no idea where to start. And Emma, the part-time creator who's been inconsistent and just wants system to help her stay on track. Writing or speaking to these people can make content that much more real. In my own creation, when I'm writing a script or planning content, literally just talking to like this, I just picture who I'm talking to, and it just makes everything much more real and just authentic, right? So part 4, choose your content pillars and channels. Now we get to the fun part, how you're actually going to deal with content itself and create. So first we need content pillars, so the core topics you'll talk about consistently. And let me be clear, these aren't educate, inspire, promote. I see this advice everywhere and it just drives me nuts, because those are just more like content goals, not pillars. I talk about this in this video. You can check it out if you want to know more, but your pillars should be very specific to your niche and your expertise. They should reflect the problems you solve and the transformation that you provide. So for example, my content pillars are content creation and marketing strategy, Canva tips and design tutorials, workflow organization and systems, and good life and sustainable mindset. Each of these pillars gives me endless content ideas, literally endless. You can watch this video to know how to find ideas for what to post. And together, they just give my audience a complete picture of what I'm about and how I help them. If you're a fitness coach, your pillars might be strength training techniques, nutrition and meal planning, recovery and injury prevention, and mindset and motivation. If you're a photographer, they might be camera settings and gear, posing and composition, editing techniques, and building a photography business. Your pillars should aim to reflect your expertise, address your core audience's needs, try to differentiate you from others in your space, although you can of course do it through other means too, and give you enough variety to just try to stay interesting. So to figure out your pillars, ask yourself, what are the 3 to 5 main topics my audience needs help with? What am I uniquely qualified to teach? What topics can I talk about endlessly without ever getting bored? Of course, based on what you know about your audience and the pillars you'll be covering, you have to choose your channels wisely. In 2026, you do not need to be everywhere. I've always said that trying to be on every platform is a straight path to burnout, to inconsistency, and just mediocre results. And instead, I always recommend choosing one primary platform and one supporting one. So for me, YouTube is my primary and newsletter is my secondary one, and I treat Instagram as my supporting platform as well. but remember, I've been doing this for years. For you, it might be Instagram primary and email supporting, or maybe TikTok plus YouTube, or LinkedIn and a blog and things like that. From researching your audience, you need to figure out where your audience actually spends time, what format you're naturally good at. So maybe it's video, maybe you love to write, maybe you're, amazing at content design. So figure out what platform aligns with your content style and goals, and maybe more importantly, what you can realistically maintain long term. If you love talking and explaining things in depth, YouTube or podcasting might be perfect. If you're visual and love design, Instagram or Pinterest might be your home. And if you're a strong writer, start a blog or a newsletter. But think about your bandwidth as well. And as an example, if you can't see yourself fitting a whole video production week in and week out, maybe YouTube is not the best platform for you. Okay, so let's move on. Within your chosen platforms, decide on 2 to 3 core content formats that you'll create regularly and figure out the posting frequency. So for me, it's 1 long form YouTube video per week, so it's 10 to 20 minutes, 1 email newsletter per week. And would I love to be consistent with my Instagram and have like 3 to 4 posts or reels per week? Sure, I sure would, but I just can't do it right now, and I'm being honest with myself, and I want you to be honest with yourself also. You have to choose a rhythm that you can actually sustain, because consistency beats volume every single time. I'd much rather see you post twice a week consistently for a year than post daily for 3 weeks and then disappear for 2 months. Your posting frequency and formats might be completely different, and that's absolutely okay. Maybe it's going to be 3 TikToks per week. Maybe it's only 1 carousel on Instagram per week with 1 storytelling one and 1 educational, so 2 of each per month. Or maybe you're a blogger who wants to post 4 blog posts per month and then wants to promote them through a series of daily pins, so 1 per day with a mixture of video and image pins. The important thing is consistency, not quantity. And within the formats that you choose, I want you to think about your individual style. This can be your editing style, the way you talk in your reels, the types of videos you'll create, and how your text and maybe filming will go. You'll work it out with time, of course, but it's good to know at the very beginning what you'll try to experiment with to just find your own voice and style to be more unique. One powerful way to stand out is to identify what content is missing in your niche. This has been the very strategy that worked for me at the beginning, and it's a fantastic way to get discovered. To identify these content gaps, again, I want you to ask yourself, what questions does my audience keep asking that no one's really answering well? What topics are oversimplified or overcomplicated, and what content exists but doesn't quite resonate with my specific audience? So for me, back in 2020, I kind of noticed that, there were a lot of content about Canva tips and also content about strategy and content creation, but very little that kind of connected the two in a very practical, sustainable way for real creators with limited time. And when I filled that gap, I was able to reach new people really fast. Part 5, create your content system. Now, why would we do all of this strategy work if we can't consistently bring it to life? You need a content system, a repeatable process that guides you and helps you turn your ideas into published content without burning you out. And honestly, this is the part that changes everything when you actually lock it in. So many creators are used to just winging it, and it's very exhausting long term. First, I want you to just build a content database to stop keeping your ideas in your head or just scattered across different apps and Notes app and things like that. So create one central place. I actually use Notion, but you could use things like Trello, Asana, Airtable, or even a Google Doc. You can do it in Canva if you want. And you need to store every content idea no matter where it hits you, whether you're shopping, just before bed, or you're actually on your laptop and working. This is going to be your content bank, and it means that when you sit down to actually create, you're never scrambling or starting from scratch. So having this organized system means that you can batch create content. You can check out this 2-part series on how I plan and create content to hopefully inspire you. And I also share my own system, the exact same Notion content hub that I use to produce anything, work on my strategy, gather ideas, create work with brands and track, and all of it is in one place. And I called it the Content Flow Dashboard. You can check it out yourself. I'll leave the link down for you below. And next is batching content. What's always worked for me is that instead of creating one post at a time, I batch similar tasks together. So I'll have a script day for my YouTube scripts, and then a content day or content writing day where I write all my newsletters and any reel scripts, any captions in one sitting. Then I have a filming day, because who wants to put on like full makeup all the time? I know I don't, so I try to film 2 to 3 YouTube videos back to back and then some reels if I can manage. And I actually want to increase it to filming 4 videos at once ones, wish me luck, and I'll definitely report back. I also have a design day where I design all of my graphics and different carousel slides in Canva. And sometimes when I work well, a content writing day kind of turns or blends into a design day, and I can finish my content easily. The point is, it's fluid. I have a very chaotic brain, which I talked about a lot in this video, so I try to work with my energy as much as I can. For me, it works so well because switching between different tasks kind of kills my productivity. So when you're in writing mode, it's much easier to not get distracted by, then jumping into Canva and trying to design a carousel at the same time. Same goes for recording. I don't want to set up my whole studio and get ready every time I finish a script. This keeps you in a flow state and just makes everything smoother and faster. And a quick word on repurposing, and let me know in the comments if you want a whole separate video just on this. Again, I talked about the process a little bit in this video, but one piece of content should really become many. I call this atomization, and it's how I stay consistent across platforms without creating new content from scratch every single day. You can get one 15-minute YouTube video or a full newsletter that you created and then extract bits of it to create 10 plus different content pieces across different platforms in many different formats. And let me hold your hand when I say this. Just because we've done work on your strategy doesn't mean that your work ends here. I know how great it feels to just complete it, to work out what you're going to do from now on. You get such a burst of positive energy and the sense of accomplishment that so often then becomes all you do. We're not procrastinate planning in 2026 anymore. We have goals. We're mapping out content for 2, 3, 4 weeks and then batching for maybe 1 week or 2 weeks ahead. Your strategy isn't one and done thing. You need to put in the work and, very importantly, check in regularly. So set reminders for yourself at this stage. I do weekly quick checks and monthly deep dives to reflect on everything. So what's working? So I know I need to do more of this or I need to do more of that. What's not working, which I can then try to fix or drop altogether? What patterns am I seeing and what does my audience keep asking for so that I can just capitalize on it and create more that's in line with these things? And remember when I told you to choose KPIs for yourself based on your goals, we're going to use these KPIs to guide the decision you make when planning and creating content. So look at which posts got the most engagement, which videos had the best retention, which emails had the best open and click rates, which content drove the most sales or signups. If engagement is up but sales are flat, maybe you need more conversion-focused content. If reach is great but retention is low, maybe your content isn't giving people a reason to follow. If YouTube is growing but your Instagram feels dead, maybe you need to just shift your focus for a while. Marketing and content is about testing, about learning and adjusting all the time, and what works for someone else may not necessarily work for you, and that's completely okay. Your job is to stay curious, stay consistent, and keep optimizing based on your own data. And also, just don't get discouraged when things don't go the way you planned or just by comparing yourself to others. That creator that's so amazing and inspires you likely has a team behind them helping them make it all happen. Remember this. And please, put this whole strategy in one place so that you can refer to it. I jump into my Notion strategy page all the time, literally at least every 2 days, just to keep it front and center. And again, set regular meetings with yourself to track, to check back and see what works and what doesn't, but let the strategy breathe. You can't go and change things every week thinking that something's not working. 1 week of posts doesn't give you enough data to make that decision. You may see patterns after maybe a couple of months, not just a couple of weeks. And a little bonus thing that I want to talk about, we also want to think about content distribution. We have to give our content as many chances as possible to do well. And here are a few things that you can actually do. So on platform, always try to optimize for search. So use keywords and captions and titles and, Pinterest descriptions. So try to post at times when your audience is active. There are platforms where it matters more than others, like LinkedIn, for example. Try to answer comments regularly, and especially after you post when they first appear. Then when you're off platform, think about other ways in which you can distribute your content. So I always email my list when I publish a YouTube video, but I rarely do just here's my new YouTube video email, but rather I give exclusive exclusive tips or expand on the topic, and then share the video itself. You could add a useful carousel you've posted on Instagram to your email if it's going to serve your audience. And if you have a Facebook group, you can maybe share your piece or of relevant content in there. Or if you're active on a particular subreddit and it allows for sharing content, you could post it there as well. There's also a way to consider collaborating with other creators to cross-promote, or you could promote your own evergreen content through Pinterest. Bottom line is, you can usually make your content work a little bit harder after you posted it. Okay, let's recap everything. Your 2026 content marketing strategy should include assessing where you are now, so using the customer journey framework to know what's working and what needs fixing. Then we're going to define your mission and goals to figure out why you're creating and set SMART goals that you can actually track. Then know your audience deeply, so understand their demographics and behavior and different emotions. Choosing your content pillars and channels, of course, to stay focused on specific topics and 1 to 2 platforms. Then create your content system, build a database, batch creation, and of course, try to repurpose everything, and then track, adjust, and optimize. Try to use the data to guide your decisions and improve continuously. And of course, bonus, master your distribution so your content actually reaches the people who need it. If you want to make this even easier, I've created a free content marketing strategy workbook that walks you through every single step we've just covered. It has prompts, examples, and templates to help you build your strategy from scratch. You can download it using the link in the description down below. And if you want to see exactly how I plan and execute my content week by week, including my full workflow and the Notion system that I use, check out this video right here. Now, before you go, I want to hear from you. What's the biggest challenge you're facing with your content strategy right now? Let me know in the comments. I want to know exactly how I can support you this following month and beyond. And if this video was helpful, leave a like. It really does help me bring more content to you for free. Subscribe if you want more of this, more content strategy, more practical systems. Thank you so much for watching. Now go build that strategy, and I'll see you next time.